Welcome to my latest Zoomcast. John Abendroth here, PGA Golf Professional, and being joined today by Mike Forsey. And as you can sort of tell by his background, he's a shoe guy. And Mike, thank you so much for joining me. And I've got a little sponsor thing I do, and I always like to have a little fun with it. My friends at Original Joe's of Westlake, one of the great Italian restaurants in the shadow of many great golf courses in the San Francisco area, Olympic Club, San Francisco Club, and I will promise you this: there'll be a time where I will play golf and walk into Original Joe's for a meal with my Payntr shoes on. So there we are. Let me start with this point. I feel every year or two is a year of this in golf. There's the year of the driver, a year of the wedge.
Yep.
I feel like the last couple of years, it's been the year of the shoe. I hear a lot more golf shoe advertising on the radio.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on that? And again, welcome.
Yeah, thank you, John. Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, it's good for our business, that's for sure. And I think I think the reason why it's become such a, I guess, relevant and hot topic is, you have some of the smallest guys on tour hitting it the furthest way. And the reason they're doing that is because they're leveraging the ground. And obviously your feet are what's in contact with the ground. So you have tour players that spend, a ton of time in the gym, and then they're looking at how do I leverage those, the benefit I gain from vertical ground forces, like pushing to the ground, you get it back in energy return, which they can bring more power to the ball and they can hit the ball further. And you look at the modern, teaching of the golf swing is about, we work with David Ledbetter. We work with, Mike Ware, and they talk about that stable hitting platform. They talk about the squat. They talk about pushing into the ground so that they can, harness ground reaction forces. So I think that's why it's become, the business, and the reason we got in this business for Payntr is, the pendulum had swung so far to footwear is about fashion. Footwear is a complement to my apparel line. What we saw as an opportunity was to look at footwear like an equipment brand would look at, drivers and irons and the latest golf ball. We want to bring a performance advantage to the golfer through his footwear. So
yeah, and my path is interesting. In being a golf instructor, I totally get that. The ground force. I had a product many years ago that was a computer that had hydraulic tubes that picked up the weight shift in each foot, and when weight was transferring, and so I studied that, and I totally get it. And then interestingly, at my age of 70, I'm now dealing with foot and leg issues, and what I've really found with wearing now these shoes, your Payntr shoes, for about 5 rounds or so, that the stability, it was very noticeable. And I kind of kidded with you when we came on and before, but I'll put this up here that you can see, and I counted them. I think I came pretty close. There's 159 of the little nubbies. I don't know what you call them, but
we call them traction elements.
Traction elements. I'll have to remember that one. And
you're a size 13 though, John, so you may have a few more than others too. So
I'm used to having more with my size and my foot size and all that. But I felt that when you walk, you kind of feel certain stresses in certain parts of your feet, but the stability and because of the rubber nature of them, and it was just a very different feel, I have to say.
Yep. Well, it's so obviously we've been at this a long time. We like I mentioned before, we got in the business because of we looked at golf footwear and it lacking somebody to bring a product to market that could look at what are the on-course needs of the golfer, not only during the golf swing, which is 2 seconds or maybe a second, but also walking the course. But we understand what happens, biomechanically during the golf swing, and it's obviously it's in the biomechanics of the golf swing. It happens in multiple dimensions. So there's rotation of the feet, there's weight shift horizontally. You take the club to the top and there's weight shift. You're like we just talked about, you're pushing into the ground. It's Newton's third law, right? For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. You push into the ground, you're going to get response. We use the analogy or the example of when that isn't the case, which is if you're running on sand, you're running on the beach and the sand is moving out from under you, and all that makes you do is work harder. So your body is working harder. So then you pull that back to the golf course, you push into the ground and you're getting that back in energy return. So what we need to do as a golf manufacturer is that is already happening naturally. The golfer is generating that head speed. The golfer has the ability to push into the ground. Our footwear is allowing that golfer to do that more effectively and more efficiently. So we've got, obviously we have a propulsion plate. We've got, we take that propulsion plate and we sandwich it in the midsole. We have a cavity in our midsole, and that when you push, the cavity opens, the midsole, the air pockets in the midsole, those move out from under the foot. When you release that pressure, all that comes back in energy and responsiveness that the golfer can bring to the golf ball. And that's
great.
Yeah.
I've been joined by Mike Forsey, a co-founder and president of Payntr Golf. Let me get the spelling correct because it's unique. Payntr. And I was curious, you also do cricket shoes. That was, I don't know any other, like FootJoy and Reebok and the rest of the golf ones that we normally know. I don't think they make cricket shoes.
No. Well, they do, but they definitely didn't start their business in cricket. And so what we are is we are a subsidiary of a brand called the Payntr brand. And the Payntr brand is a technical footwear brand based in the UK. They started in cricket. And David Payntr, where the name comes from, his whole family heritage is in cricket. His great grandfather played for the UK national team. David is an ex-professional cricket player. And then they've expanded that into field hockey and lacrosse and training. And about, it would have been about 3.5 years ago, David reached out to me and we had a connection on LinkedIn. He reached out and said, "Hey, I saw that you just left this other brand. And I've had a request to get into golf and I have no idea how to do it. Would you help us?" And, long story short, we said, okay, we'll put a plan together, but we definitely want to make sure that whatever we do has a unique proposition. It's based in performance. The sub-brand or the design ethos of Payntr is performance multiplied. And that's where the mark comes from, the performance multiplied. The X that's on your shoe is just the stylized multiplication sign. So it's about performance and bringing that to the whatever athlete in whatever sport. We want to make sure that we're bringing a performance advantage.
Wow, that's great. And I also noticed one other unique feature is the tongue of the shoe has sort of a elastic support on each side that keeps them centered, which is always a challenge.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a tongue technology. It's actually material technology called Arioprene. And Arioprene has stretch characteristics like you noticed. It's also highly perforated. And the tongue, actually, we take the tongue and we adhere it to the lasting board. So what we talked about before is, we want to give you traction in 3-dimension, that rotation, horizontal and vertical. But if your foot is moving inside the shoe, that's taking away from, that defeats the purpose. So we want to lock your foot into the shoe itself. Once you slide into it, we don't want your foot moving around. The other thing is the tongue being highly perforated like it is, it makes it the natural pumping action of the foot when you walk, where that perspiration escapes from is the top of the foot and out through the tongue. So that's why it's perforated, so that we want to keep the environment inside the shoe comfortable. But in order to do that, we need to move all of that perspiration out of the shoe. So
that's wild. So let's talk about kind of the sales and marketing side of this.
Yeah.
Are you getting out to retail golf shops, mostly online at this point? I know in Northern California, Carl Cowan, your rep, I know he's out there, beating the bricks, and he's been an interesting guy over the years. He's always got a very innovative product each year to talk about. So he was very excited to introduce me to this, and boy, he hit the right guy. So yeah,
he definitely has the talent of identifying the next hot product. That's for sure.
Right.
Yeah. We have 20 of those independent sales reps nationwide.
Okay.
We also cover Canada, and we're in Golf Town in Canada. So we have 20 independent sales reps, and we just got over the 600 account mark. We focus on green grass, but then we also have our own website, payntrgolf.com. But we only, on payntrgolf.com, we only sell at suggested retail. So we don't want to compete against those smaller green grass accounts. And then we're also in regional off-course specialty, and then national off-course specialty like PGA Tour Superstore.
Got it. And it's Payntr golf.com.
Correct. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
And reasonable price. I always hate to quote prices, but let's call it far less than $200. And it's I think a very reasonable price for all the technology that's built into the shoe.
Yeah. And and I'm glad you recognize that. We do put a lot into the product. Our price range is from 140 suggested retail up to 220. It's the same technology regardless of price point. It's the same technology regardless of spiked or spikeless. So all of our outsoles have the same 3-dimensional traction, that rotational resistance, the horizontal support, and then that vertical push. It's just different. In our higher end models, we use a graphite propulsion plate. In our more affordable models, we use a PBAX or a plastic propulsion plate. So it's all the same. That's what we try to tell our sales force, is that once they learn the outsole technology, it's not only what makes us unique, but it's on every one of our shoes. So you only need to learn the technology once. And we believe, obviously, in, it's based in the biomechanics of the golf swing. It's difficult to change that. So if you look at our competitors, if they've got price points that range from like 80 to 200, there'll be a different traction element, a different spike placement, that they don't believe in the technology like we do, or that they don't believe in the traction, or it's based on something else like we do. But if you turn our shoes over, every shoe on the wall behind me, it's the same outsole. It's the same outsole technology. So it's intuitive. It's very intuitive and easy to understand.
All right, very good. Well said. And again, I've enjoyed them so far, and I'm waiting for a breakthrough in my game. So it's a cliche I use, but it's kind of part of my equation, trying to improve. And I got a couple of I'm actually playing 3 days next week. I've got a charity event and then a 2-day, so I'll keep you posted on my progress.
Do you have a launch monitor or a TrackMan or anything, either at your facility or a personal one?
No, I do not have one.
Okay.
But
If you have access to one, or if you can get access to one, have somebody or yourself, obviously you're an accomplished player, have them hit golf balls in a street shoe or an athletic shoe, and then put them in a Payntr product.
wow.
And there will be a significance in club head speed and ball speed.
Yeah, I have a relationship with the PJ Tour Supers here in the San Francisco area, so I'll talk to the folks there and see if we can't do something fun there. And then I've been using those speed sticks to try to pick up some speed with my foot issues. I'm a little more flat-footed than I would like to be, and so I'm following. If you followed Patrick Harrington out of Ireland has done this, and he's picked up like a lot of yardage, and really it's very interesting that how he's done that. So
Matthew Fitzpatrick has done the same with the stack, and we have a guy under contract too, Martin Borgmeyer, who's the current world long drive champion.
Wow.
And he has done the same. He spends as much time in the gym though as on the golf course. So,
interesting stuff. Mike, thank you so much for your time, and I'm enjoying the shoes, and we'll stay in touch, and best of luck with the company, and see you get over that 1,000 mark on the retailers.
That'd be great. Yeah. Let us know if you need anything, John.
All right. All right. Very good. There we go. All right.
Okay.
Mike Forsey with Payntr Shoes, and check them out if you get an opportunity. It's a good one.